Priest has moved. He's sitting over there. Godwin's concubine.
You live here?
Of course.
I mean here, in the presbytery.
Yeah, right here.
In the presbytery? With the parish priest?
Yes. What's the matter? Don't you like me?
Yes, of course I like you.
So why are you surprised Godwin likes me too?
I'm not. I mean, I see. I think.
Alright. Back at it again.
I see you know how to wield a sword, Father. I wouldn't have expected that from a man of the cloth.
With a stick. I practice with a stick. A reminder of my youth and days gone by, and it helps keep me in good form.
He said over a drink. We'll wait, and over a drink. There came the good father and his concubine.
Ale. Here, enjoy.
I'd like a beer.
All right, let's see if I can make this work.
I'm sorry I can't tell you everything, but maybe we can work something out. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
I'm from Skalitz.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible. It seemed so pointless. He had no warning. He just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. He slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There was a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovno. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but they...
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujitz, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Neuhof? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
They weren't exaggerating.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhof stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. I noticed you're pretty handy with a sword. I wouldn't expect that of a man of the cloth.
You know what they say. The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
But this is a bit more mysterious than others.
Let's just say I haven't always been a priest. Fate led me to places where affairs were settled by force. These days, of course, it's just a bit of exercise to keep me in shape.
I noticed there's a woman living with you at the presbytery.
What of it? Have you never met a cleric who lives with a woman before? Mother Church won't let me take her to wife. Too afraid it might lose its property to any heirs she bore me. But she cooks and cleans. And, well, as a man, I have my needs.
I'm not sure the parish priest at St. James would agree with you.
I heard he was a bit odd.
He's a bit odd.
Well,
Okay.
we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
Here you are. And good health.
I understand, but that means I've reached a dead end. Those cutthroats will strike again, and I can't stop them.
Chin up, lad. I might have a solution.
What?
If I tell you what Lubos told me, I'd be betraying the confessional secret. But, first thing tomorrow, I'll try something I think might help you.
Word of honor?
On my soul.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujits is in Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And, of course, describing them in detail. Tongue-lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular. Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the church is drowning has turned to poison. And nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt
like
it.
it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
Coming right up.
Don't you think it's a bit odd when someone boozes and lives in sin with a woman and then criticises the Pope for debauchery?
No, I don't.
What do you think of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning drinking and lying with women.
Where can I find out more about his teachings?
You like it? I copied down some of his sermons. If you're interested, you can read them at my presbytery.
Yeah, I just learned to read first, but might do that.
What do the common folk think of it?
They like it. They're happy to hear someone say what they think themselves, but are afraid to say aloud. Things that make them angry. And they're calling for change. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people will rise up, and the church will be shaken to its very foundations.
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master of the most respected university in Europe?
Sure they could.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. It's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
That sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
New level in drinking.
Vida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj padł wiesej smutek, godnielno i rano utek, nie piszczałbym majstrat, do przerażylne staje trakt. Už se bojí svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejbě jich muži. Nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požadem si umí jako poslední den. Buďte se vámi, ano rád stávy a tak vypal sudy a posaď se mi sem, tak posaď se sem a vypal jeden. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zejtra jen tu stolnej den, tak ďalej vyhne a točí se svět.
Enough of this.
Uh-oh.
Bailiff, come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped, and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can write is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out.
I'm sleeping upstairs.
You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Oh, crap. Achievement, sinner. Oh, that was a... Where'd you go? Dodged. Alright, I got some stamina back. You got a problem. Damn! Like machine gun fire. Who's my next one? Oh, rebuild some.
Come and get
Ooh. Wobbly. That was probably dumb.
Would you like to have a little ring on the bell?
Oh, God.
Said and done.
I'd love to. And Henry, too, I'm sure. Right, Henry?
Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
They can say what they like. What do I care? What do they do to me? Watch the step, my dear. Careful, you don't hurt yourself.
Godwin.
Did I do it bad? I did bad. Oh, God. We're going to fall out.
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
You pass out and hit the floor?
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here.
Oh.
The priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
Of course, I get a glitch to them. Oh God, I'm out in a field. Oi.
Hey, watch it.
This is not good at all.
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
Oh. Haven't had an evening like that in years. Good thing. Good thing. Oi. Something's...
Godwin, you beast. Get up. Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards.
Oh, fucking hell. Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you? Oh, Henry. My great friend, Henry. Didn't we have a wonderful time?
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on in my head. Oh, my guts. Oh, my poor suffering stomach. Oh, what was that woman on about? Before my flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something.
You got a sermon this morning?
What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Oh. Mass! Oh, shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me.
I'd like to help you, but...
You can. You can do the sermon for me.
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Ratzig's protege. You just came from studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look. From what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's cronies are.
Done. Let's do this. Let's sling some shit. Oh god, I got another level in drinking. Jeez, like a new private out for the first time with the new first platoon. Yeah. No, I ain't gonna. I'll never get away with it. There.
Well, all right. I can't make any promises about what'll happen.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you. You give the sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's that. No need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty. Fine then. We have a deal.
Wonderful. Let's get to it then.
I need my shit. I need all my charisma bonuses. Leave the helmet. Leave the weapons off. I'm not hungry. Crowd, I wish I had some of the other stuff for bonuses to charisma. Let's go. Oh, Jesus. I'm wobbling. My horse is still there. At least I can get away quick if need be. Oh.
I thought he'd never show up.
Look, he can hardly walk after his capers last night.
You were with them, you beast. Didn't you?
Look at him. Mother of God, any minute now he'll throw up.
Must purge the sins from the system.
I couldn't sleep a wink last night with all that clamor.
Henry, quit smiling. Please quit smiling.
In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Accepit panem in sanctas ad veneriles a manus suas. Hac facite in meam commemorationem.
Don't drink the wine. Don't drink the wine. Don't drink the wine.
Brothers and sisters, you may have had the honor of meeting Henry from Skalitz, who is here at the behest of Sir Hanush to investigate that heinous crime at Neuhof. You might not know that Henry recently visited
There's
Prague,
a rooster up on the upper
where, by the grace
pews.
of God, was able to hear Master Jan Hus from the esteemed Charles University preaching. I've managed to persuade Henry to stand here today in my stead and tell us what he heard. Because, as you all probably know, Jan Hus is a very popular preacher in Prague. So, Henry, you may begin.
Oh boy, here we go.
Curious which one of them will puke first.
If I puke, it'll be all y'all. It's going to be on a timer. You know it's going to be on a timer. It's not. All right.
Brothers and sisters, let me get straight to the point. I'd like to talk about the church and how corrupt it is.
That boy has a cheek.
Crap.
One should not believe in the church, because the church is not God. God is above all things, and the church is but a means to salvation, which the prelates do not care to hear.
He's right.
Crap.
It is the corruption of God's pastors here on earth
Roll the dice.
that has brought misfortune on our heads. Plague, cumens, hunger, and chaos. The accursed wealth that the church is drowning in is poisoning almost the whole of Christendom. When dogs are fighting over a bone, take the bone and they will stop. Just like the flock of ravens that has descended on this land to peck up every speck of gold and silver. They show no mercy. Their hearts are poisoned by covetousness. They trade everything. Everything is for sale. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay, and you will have absolution. And the prelates sin and give themselves absolution.
For shame! Shame upon them!
And what sins? They
roll.
live with harlots and keep concubines, even though only marital intercourse for the purpose of procreation is pure. If someone takes a woman or man only to satisfy their own lust, who seduces them to do so but Satan? And how much darker the sin if that man is a servant of the church? Who can turn his face to God, who fornicates and then puts on priestly robes?
Nothing we don't know about already.
Good.
Enough about sin, which the prelates are so fond of preaching about, and whose absolution they promise if you only pay enough coin to Mother Church. What if the devil himself were to pay? Will the bishops tell us he too would ascend to heaven? And what about those bishops? They sin without remorse, and with the money grasped from the poor for indulgences, they keep fine horses and hordes of servants to pamper them. They play dice and garb their mistresses in expensive furs, while Christ, the Lamb of God, walked barefoot and had nowhere to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too.
Down with the prelates! Away with them!
We're fortunate to have our good Father Godwin. At least he's a fair and simple man.
Try some quote, I think. Yeah, no, the others are too risky.
I say to you, in the words of Jan Hus, he who knows much, let him speak much. He who knows little, let him speak little. Let each speak as much as he knows. And he who knows nothing, let him at least teach his neighbour one virtuous deed by setting him good example and refraining from playing dice and from fornication. And that applies both to priests and to you, brothers and sisters.
That's his conclusion.
That is all I heard in Prague. Amen.
Did I do good?
The lad spoke well, considering what a soak he is.
He's right, that.
The young man shouldn't drink so much, but the Lord's given him a silver tongue.
Told him nicely.
Well, my boy, you have talent, and I can't deny it. And you pulled a thorn from my side. I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I noticed. I wasn't the only one.
Well, what's to be done? I'll make it up somehow.
So, about our bargain.
Although it's a sin.
So gluttony and fornication.
God does forgive a penitent.
So, what did Limpy Lubos tell you? Was he at Neuhof that day? Who was with him? And where are they now?
Now, slow down. I'm sorry, but he didn't tell me that much.
Don't let me down after all I've been through. For you...
Well, now Lubos came to me shortly after it happened. His conscience was gnawing at him. And I must say, in the end, he turned out to be a better man than he looked. He said They'd been hired through some crony of theirs. And at first they were just to steal some horses. But then it all turned sour and people started getting killed. And neither he nor his cronies wanted anything to do with that. So they fell out from the gang and fled.
Fell out? Yeah, there was a body found in the woods by Neuhoff.
That would explain something. Lubos kept jabbering that he wasn't a murderer, that he didn't want to do it.
So I know that Lubos killed the murderer and he's dead too. The trouble is, I need to find the ones who are still alive. I need names and places. Did he mention any of the others?
Only nicknames. Talked about some fella called Riki from Ledechko, Pius, Timmy.
Pius. That lot are about as pious as I am ordained.
Nonsense. You would make an excellent priest. And anyhow, with your skills, you ought to be able to sniff out this Riki from Ledechko, right?
Well, we'll have to now. There's not much else to go on. Let's hope he's not hanging from the wall, too.
Indeed. And I'd hate to be excommunicated for nothing. Anyhow, good luck. You watch out for yourself. These people clearly mean business. And I'd like to raise a tankard with you again sometime.
I'll try. Although I'm not sure I'd survive another night of your debauchery.
And if anyone should ask, you heard nothing from me. I'll deny everything.
I don't doubt it.
Oh. Save point? Give me a save point. Oh. Glorious be. Oh. That puts a stress on the body. Guts it or not. Plus it's late. So, leave your thoughts, comments, observations, suggestions down below. Hit the like or dislike, subscribe if you have not already. And remember, if there is something out there important to you, if it matters to you, whether it's up and out, face to face with other people, or from the safety and sanctity of behind your terminal, behind your keyboard, get involved and make a difference. But take care. Keep yourselves safe. Because I am the Articulate Grunt, and for now, I'm out from here. Bye.